What's up, Tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. Well, listen, I am way behind on this show, but I told y'all I was trying to get caught up in all my videos, so here we go. This is Games People Play, Season 2, Episode 2. Let's get into it. We start the episode off. Marcus is doing what he does best, laying on the couch drunk, feeling sorry for himself, okay? Vanessa then took off with the baby, and he is at home, drinking. And we find out that there's a whole press conference that he is missing where they are introducing a new player to the team. His name is Rondo. His name is Rondo. And we also meet a new character played by Karichi. Karichi is knocking it out the park with these acting roles, honey. Don't be sleeping on Karichi. But she plays the daughter of the owner of the team. Now, the owner of the team is white. And so she plays a mixed character. She identifies as a woman of color, though, because she says that in her speech. When they introduce her, she's the new VP of player operations. And she says, listen, I know that people are going to say there's nepotism here because my father's the owner of the team. She said, but I want everybody to know that I worked my way up. I went to Harvard for business school. I went to some other Ivy League school for my MBA. So I am absolutely qualified to do this. And I worked my way up through the ranks. Because, some reporter tried to get her, and she had to get that reporter all the way together, okay? And she was like, so before you question whether I should be here, you need to question whether you deserve your job. I said, you better get him. You better get him. Eden is her name. Her character's name is Eden. And so this new character they're introducing is a cocky, very... I'm here to save the team. The team needs me. I don't need them. Yada, yada, yada kind of thing. And again, Marcus is missing it. He should have been there, but of course he's laid on the couch feeling sorry for himself. Now the detective comes by and he immediately sees, he sees who the person is at the door, and he immediately responds. And this lets us know that Angela been gone for a minute, because he was like, are you just going to come out here every day? Is this what you're going to do every day? And he was like, yeah, I'm going to keep coming by every day until I'm convinced that you don't know what she is. Because we do know that you have lied in the past to try to save her. So we absolutely feel like you will lie again, okay? But he lets him know, listen, I do not know where Vanessa is. Vanessa has my child. She my favorite person right now. And the detective, I think, believes him, but at the same time, he's doing his job, right? Now, we meet King's daddy, who is played by Leon, okay? He comes through, he gives him the good old, get off your ass, dust it off, you got to get yourself together, you got to be a better man, you got to be ready, when your daughter's going to need you, so you need to be ready when she comes by. Don't throw everything away that you work for, yada, 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 yada. The big thing that we saw was that there's some sort of tension between him, his daddy, and how his mom passed away. It sounds like his mom might have been sick, and they didn't tell Marcus because he was playing basketball. They didn't want him to be distracted, honey. And so that seemed to be some sort of, something there. But they seemed to have kind of worked past it, and they had a good visit. And by the time he was leaving, it was all love. Okay, whatever. So we also find out that the best friend doesn't know where Vanessa is either. She was like, well, Eric, her boyfriend was like, well, when was the last time you talked to her? She was like, I talked to her the day she disappeared, but I didn't know. I kind of felt like there was more to the story. I kind of felt like there was more going on, but she didn't tell me anything. Like, I didn't know what was going on. And so I feel some kind of way because, on one hand, I understand she did what she had to do for her family. But on the other hand, I kind of feel like, as her friend, that she didn't trust me enough to confide in me and tell me what was going on, So, of course, that provides a little bit of tension. Now, when she go to work, come to find out, her and Kendall, they done got bust down, honey. They done got demoted. They're back in gossip because that whole story that they did last year on the pastor exposing him, the pastor said it wasn't true, and he provided all of these receipts to prove that it wasn't true. And so their boss was like, listen, rather than me fire y'all, I'm just going to demote y'all, and y'all back doing gossip. That's what y'all seem to know how to do. And of course, neither one of them are happy about that. She goes home. She in a funky mood. She takes it out on him, on Eric. And Eric was like, listen, girl, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm sorry you had a bad day. Let me help you. Let me be there. Let me run some bath water. Like, what can I do to make you feel better? And of course, she just keeps snapping at him, talking about some, you don't think about stuff. You just act on impulse. I mean, you impulsively quit your job and you came here and he was like, what you talking about? We talked about me quitting my job. Like, that wasn't impulsive. Like, that was planned. Like, what is wrong with you? So then he went on to let her know that they did, that he'd been doing some research and he found out that the pastor is a part of this, like, top secret private organization. He's alluding to something along the lines of, like, the Illuminati kind of thing. And he said, yeah, and they're having this big meeting in town. And she was like, okay, well, are they in town to get us or are they in town for the meeting? And he was like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure what they're in town for, but I'm doing some research, I'm gonna keep up with it. And then he asked her, well, do you want me to try to find Vanessa? Like, everybody leaves a print, he's in computers, so he's like, I can find her. And she told him, no, don't do it, don't look for her. If she want to be found, if she want to get in touch with me, she know how to get in touch with me, kind of thing. But they end up getting to this really big argument, and he ends up moving out, and he moves in with Kendall, and he is totally paranoid that the Illuminati is coming to get him, okay? Now, Golden Goddess is still living her best life. Now people are sending her gifts in the mail. They're sending her clothing, and she's on her Instagram Live, trying on all the clothes and talking about how great her life is. Listen, I still don't know what the whole dealio is with this situation, but she has definitely sold her soul to the devil. Now, I don't know in what way, shape, or form, but something ain't right with this whole situation. Something ain't right with it. And I guess we're going to get to that, a couple of episodes down the road. Now, Marcus's best friend and his fiance, she's planning a wedding. She's ready to get this thing started. She going to visit venues and all of that. And he's like, yo, can you slow down a little bit? Like, why are you moving so fast? She was like, what you talking about? Like, you proposed to me, let's get married. And I think that's the problem, that some people, like, when y'all propose, in some people's mind, proposal means marriage. Like, I don't believe in long engagements. Because my thing is, when you ask somebody to marry you, that tells me y'all are ready to get married. Why are we engaged for 5 years? That means you weren't ready to get married. We might as well just stay boyfriend and girlfriend, because that's all we are. We just boyfriend and girlfriend with a ring on our finger. Because if we're not planning to get married, what was the purpose? So she was ready to get married, and he was like, listen, I need you to slow down. Like, why are we spending all this? Like, we got to see what we spending. Because remember, they sitting on that money, but they don't know whether Coach is going to come back around and want that money, because, again, he ain't dead. So he's like, listen, she said, well, you took $5,000 and bought that ring. Well, let's be clear. In the grand scheme of things, as it relates to engagement rings, $5,000 really ain't that much money. And so I think in his mind, he was like, yeah, I spent the $5,000 on the ring. That's it. That's all. Like, that's as far as I'm going with this. Like, I'm not trying to keep dipping into this money, because one, is going to all be gone. And two, if he double back around and want that money back, I need to be able to give it to him. And then she told us something, did you ask Marcus to be your best man? And he was like, not yet, but I mean, that's my boy. I know he gonna say yeah. She was like, oh, okay, because we get a bigger discount if he's in the pictures. I said, you know what? That's funny, and that's so real, because I'm sure that there are venues that'll be like, hey, this fourth show, we see it happen all the time on these shows where, if they show the name of the establishment and stuff like that. Anyway, later on, we see, him ask Marcus, and of course, Marcus is happy for him, and Marcus is like, yeah, hell yeah, my man, my boy, whatever, Okay. So, then we see best friend go down to the hospital to visit his daddy, right? Now, last episode, he was cussing this man out, talking about, I ain't never gonna be your son. Don't call me dad. Don't call me son. You're not my daddy. Now it's, oh man, Pop, what's up, Pop? Yeah, Pop. And I'm like, did I miss an episode? What the fuck? How did we get here? In the immortal words of Deborah Cox, how did we get here? I don't understand. And his fiance comes in and she's just as confused. She's like, wait a minute, you down here in the hospital hanging out. He's like, don't talk about my dad like that. She's like, Daddy. When did he become your daddy? Like, what are we doing here? But he did tell them they could keep the money, and I feel like that has something to do with his openness to reconciliation. Is because the man said, "I don't want the money. I want you to keep it and be happy." Okay, that might make me call somebody daddy too. Just saying. So then we see Miss Eden, aka Karichi. She calls the police detective down because she wants to know, listen, is Marcus a person of interest? Because what I need to know is I need to protect my brand. I need to protect my team. If he's a person of interest, then that's what I need to know. And the detective was like, well, we can't really comment on an ongoing investigation, but I can tell you that he's not a person of interest. She was like, oh, okay, because if he's a person of interest, then, the team can, separate themselves from him. And he was like, oh, is that why you brought the new player in? And she was like, let's just say, we playing it for a rainy day kind of situation, right? I'm trying to make sure that we good. Because, listen, I'm getting through this review quick because, child. Anyway, so then we see Marcus, after his dad left, and gave him the whole pep talk, you got to get it together, you got to live for your baby, you got to get out this house, get off this couch. He decides that he's going to head on down to, that the team is having an event down to the club where they, where Rondo was hanging out and him and, the best friends show up. They got a table and, Rondo, Am I calling him by the right name? I wrote it down. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying this man's name right. Romello. See, I'm thinking about Rondo, the basketball player Rondo. Romello. So they down there, Marcus is at his table with his crew getting drunk. Romello's at his table with his crew getting drunk. They right next to each other. Marcus tries to go and be nice to the man, welcome him to the team. And old boy was basically like, listen, all I need you to do is stay the hell out of my way and give me the ball. Like, I don't need you to be nice to me. I don't need you to welcome me. I ain't trying to be your friend. We co-workers, bruh. Now, Eden is there too, because this is, I guess, some sort of team-sponsored event. And somewhere during the night, they get into a rap battle. Now, I'm thinking to myself, this has got to be the silliest shit I've ever seen in my life. Now, all of a sudden, we rapping. We having a rap battle, and Marcus is rapping against Romello, talking about who the best rapper, and who's the king, and who's the real king, and all this stuff. And, of course, Marcus King. Of course, he getting drunk as hell, okay? And by the end of the night, Eden ended up having to take him home. And as she's taking him home, they talking about, he trying to talk to her. And I feel like there's some little flirtation going on there, a little sexual tension, a little something. And by the time they get to the house, he looking at her, she looking at him, he looking at her, she looking at him. And that's where the episode ends. So I don't know if she went up in that room with him or not. The other thing that happened down to this party is here come Golden Goddess. She's in the party and she's up in VIP. She running the Marcus, and of course her and Marcus had to give each other the what's up, how you doing, you good, I'm good kind of thing, right? I said that I don't know what in the world is going on here, but okay. If you like it, I love it, honey. If you like it, I love it. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.